Hey y'all, it's Kim. So before I get into Lefties Losing It today, let's listen to Michelle Obama complain about Trump's deportation efforts. I think she's going to be in there whining. But anyway, this is Benny Johnson. It says Michelle Obama says President Trump's deportations keep her up at night. Does she know Barack Obama, her husband, deported 5.3 million people? President Trump has deported a bit over 100,000 so far. So let's listen to this.
Couldn't be. We couldn't walk around saying valedictorian, straight A student, speaks excellent, has excellent diction if you give them a chance. We knew very early on that no one was going to see beyond the color of our skin at an early age. And that could get you in trouble.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about that fear, I'm sure that fear has been tested across your life in so many different places. And I wonder, what would you say has been the most hardest recent test of that fear? Because it's not one of those fears that you kind of get over and it just goes away. It kind of shows its head in many different ways, I imagine.
Well, in this current climate for me, it's, what's happening to immigrants. So it's not the fear for myself anymore. I drive around in a 4-car motorcade with a police escort. I'm Michelle Obama. I do still worry about my daughters in the world, even though they are somewhat recognizable. So my fears are for what I know is happening out there in streets all over the city. And now that we have leadership that is sort of indiscriminately determining who belongs and who doesn't, and we know that those decisions aren't being made with courts and with due process, and that it's being made like this cop that pulled my brother over when he was 12. You don't look like somebody that belongs. I can determine just by looking at you that you're a good person or you're not a good person.
Oh, please. Oh, she just whines. That's not it. Okay, let's see. Who wore it best? Oh my goodness. Let's see here. What? Anyway, so let's see what Mr. Obama had to say about deportations. Says if you're a criminal, you'll be deported. Barack Obama, November 20th, 2014. This is exactly what President Trump is doing right now, but Democrats still pretend to be outraged.
If you're a criminal, you'll be deported. If you plan to enter the U.S. illegally, your chances of getting caught and sent back just went up. The actions I'm taking are not only lawful, they're the kinds of actions taken by every single Republican president and every single Democratic president for the past half century.
Okay, so then what's the problem? Let's see what people have to say about this. It says Obama deported over 2 million with no pushback. Yeah, well, since Trump said it, and to the left, Trump is Satan. Many can't have rational thoughts about it because Orange Man bad. And Hillary, let's see what Hillary had to say about deportations.
So I think we got to have tough conditions. Tell people to come out of the shadows. If they've committed a crime, deport them. No questions asked. They're gone.
Shocking, isn't it? How this gets hidden. It says Obama was the deporter in chief. Great point. Christian Dems are total hypocrites on immigration. They only care about open borders for votes, not actual border security or the humanity of those people coming over here. They just wanted them here with no real plan for how they were going to take care of them other than throw money at the problem. And that's not how that worked. They didn't set them up with like really homes, cars, jobs necessarily, whatever they needed, their personal stuff. They were pretty much, I think some of them were living in kind of like squalor conditions, and they were not, I don't know, they just, maybe not, but I just think that's where they were. They didn't have a real plan for them. They just wanted the votes. They didn't care. They just wanted bodies. So anyway, it says it's different when Democrats do it. It's funny how you can't ever be honest. What? I don't know what that is. Obama is far right now. Demons are liars. It's pretty simple. Trump keeping his promises on immigration reform is music to my ears. Democrats living in a fantasy bubble, unable to accept reality. Kudos to Trump for following through on what Obama only talked about. I guess he did actually get people out, but let's see what Lefties Losing It has to say. It says, Lefties Losing It, miserable Michelle Obama whines more than Meghan Markle. And remember, they say she's worth about 70 million. So, anyway.
But it's time for Lefties Losing It, and Donald Trump was giving a speech in Michigan to mark the first 100 days of his second term when a lefty losing it lass decided to make a monumental fool of herself. Now, watch here as the president tries to figure out whether this lefty is male or female.
What's the problem over there? What's the problem? Is that a radical left lunatic? It's just a child. All right, get about. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, ma'am. I thought it was a guy. Thank you. And she now has to go home to a mother who's a big Trump fan. Her mother's watching. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I said he, and it's a she. I'm sorry.
Oh, yes, it can be hard to work out whether some of these radical left lunatic non-binary folk are male or female. And talking about LGBTQIA++ community, here is a trans woman, also known as a man identifying as a woman, who fled to the UK, but it hasn't worked out well.
Decided to come to the United Kingdom, which has been a huge mistake, I must say. Not only the April 16th law that passed validating transfers genders, tensions shift very quickly when laws change. And I've been found myself not welcome in places I was welcome before. It's quite terrifying.
Now, sticking to the UK, you may have missed this, but there was a little miracle. The leftist British PM Keir Starmer, who not long ago claimed that some women have penises, well, he somehow, at the tender age of 62, worked out what a woman is. Bless.
Do you believe a trans woman is a woman?
I think the Supreme Court has answered that question.
So you
And I think
a trans woman is a woman?
a woman is an adult female, and the court has made that absolutely clear. I actually welcome the judgment because I think it gives real clarity. It allows those that have got to draw up guidance to be really clear about what that guidance should say.
Now, I have missed historically illiterate hysteric Joanne Reid since she was sacked by MSNBC.
Yes, I missed her too. I think, where was I at? I thought I pulled up something for her. Oh, Joy Reid. It says, why is it trending? It says the Roman Empire is trending with Joy Reid because the former MSNBC host is currently a subject of mockery and hilarity following a video where she claimed that the Roman Empire collapsed because it didn't have enough strength and diversity. Netizens, I guess, have slammed Mrs. Reid for blatant ignorance and urged her to open a history textbook before thinking of opening her mouth next time. And let's see, what does this say? It says, imagine comparing your race to the Roman Empire. You've lived here 1,000 years, but there's no bridges, ships, guns, roads, houses, or farms. And why? Y'all food ain't seasoned. I don't know who that is. Y'all food ain't seasoned. Facts. Joy Reid needs to open a history textbook or a history book and actually read about the Roman Empire, economic stagnation, slave labor, overextension, etc. The Roman Empire died a death by 1,000 cuts, both internally and externally. They didn't die because of DEI or diversity. Democrat history, Joy Reid on why the Roman empire really fell. Lack of diversity. Joy Reid exposes her hatred of whites again. Go to Africa then. If we stick with white folk, we will be a slowly dying and aging empire. That's how the Roman Empire died. If y'all want to be like Roman Empire, keep voting the way y'all voting. Unemployed Joy Reid casually attacking white people. If we stick with white folk, we will be a slowly dying and aging empire. That is how the Roman Empire died. Oh my gosh. Just the fact that she gets away with that. It says, oh, this is the same one that I just read. Joy Reid exposes her hatred of whites again. Let's see. Let's see what this says. Can't believe some of y'all actually watched Joy Reid's show. A woman who was used to defend sodomy, pedophilia, incest, and rape content in children's books. If that's not satanic, then I don't know what it is. It says, just imagine how toxic you have to be for MSNBC to finally part ways with you after nearly a decade, when you're pretty much untouchable based on your race and gender. Remember when Joy Reid got away with anti-Semitic and homophobic blogs? That's how awful Joy Reid is. Oh, that's a gift, so it's not going to show it. I was kind of hoping that once Joy Reid got fired for being an insufferable race baiter, that she'd slither off and stay gone. I hope we wouldn't keep having to see toxic clips of this ugly moron spewing her hatred, at least for a while. And I really thought it was going to last. Have you ever been a person more racist, or has there ever been a person more racist than Joy Reid? I'm sure, yeah. I mean, I don't want to hear her mouth. We're going to hear it on Lefties Losing It. It says, do you believe Joy Reid is a racist? Let's see what people have to say about her. She is evil. And then when she was crying about getting fired, oh, I'm a no-talent hack. I'm a bigot. Let's see. But that hair, it's like Trump hair. It's blonde Trump hair. It says, oh, yes. That she's a racist and more. I think she's way too much of herself. She acts like one and talks like one, which leads me to believe she is one. 100% race baiter. This woman seems to blame everything on the world, on race, and made lots of money to do it. So glad she's gone. No, I believe she's a natural blonde. Yeah, belongs on The View. But anyway, it's just like, how was she able to get away with that nonsense for so long? But she did.
See, but thankfully she's still producing content like this, where she claims voting for Republicans will lead to civilizational death.
Oh my gosh.
And the example she uses couldn't be more wrong.
If you take that away and try to distill us just down to white folks, we'll be like Europe, an aging, slowly dying former empire. The Roman Empire didn't survive because it didn't have enough strength in its diversity. It suppressed its diversity and it died. If the U.S. wants to be the Roman Empire, keep voting the way you're voting, y'all.
You know, Joy's mad fever dreams about Trump and white supremacy seem to impact her entire worldview, but you can't change history, Joy. Well before the fall of the Roman Empire, the emperor granted full Roman citizenship to all free men within the empire, changing the entire scope of citizenship to be far more inclusive. Facts are our friends. Now let's check in with former First Lady Michelle Obama, who must be among the unhappiest women in America. She's full of self-pity. She's full of disdain for the country that gave her so much, and full of fears that are frankly hysterical.
In this current climate, for me, it's, what's happening to immigrants. So it's not the fear for myself anymore. I drive around in a 4-car motorcade with a police escort. I'm Michelle Obama. I do still worry about my daughters in the world, even though they are somewhat recognizable. So my fears are for what I know is happening out there in streets all over the city. And now that we have leadership that is sort of indiscriminately determining who belongs and who doesn't.
Indiscriminately?
Wow,
Really,
she's
Michelle?
dumb.
You have to be in the country illegally. You have to have broken the law to be in the country illegally to be a candidate for deportation. Kind of an important point, but miserable Michelle wasn't done yet. She really does seem like the unhappiest person in America, even with the 4-car motorcade.
And knowing that there's so much bias and so much racism and so much ignorance that fuels those kind of choices, I worry for people.
It's not racism. They came here illegally. We want people to come through the legal route. Why do they always resort to saying it's racist? No, do it the right way. How many people got cut in line because these people just came over here and overwhelmed the immigration system? Hello? Yeah, right now we do need to have a moratorium on importing or bringing people in, like the immigration, because they've overwhelmed the system. I just don't. I mean, these people are so fake, and they just lie and gaslight, and everything is just race baiting. Oh my gosh, I can't stand it.
Of color all over this country.
Oh boy.
And I don't know that we will have the advocates to protect everybody. And that that frightens me.
Yeah.
It keeps me up at night. And I know that I see that when I'm driving around LA. I'm just looking in the faces of folks who could be victim. And I'm wondering, how are you?
In LA like a hellscape at this point with the drugs and the homelessness? I mean, what is she talking about in LA? Didn't they just allow them to
How
do
do you
that?
feel standing on the bus stop? How do you feel comfortable going to work, going to school, when you know that there could be people out here judging you and who could upend your life in a second?
Incredible stuff. Funnily enough, Michelle wasn't too worried when her husband, the man who got the nickname Deporter in Chief, she wasn't too worried when he was in the White House and responsible for deporting millions. That didn't keep her up at night. Let's give Michelle a little reminder.
We simply cannot allow people to pour into the United States undetected, undocumented, unchecked, and circumventing the line of people who are waiting patiently, diligently, and lawfully
cutting the line
to become immigrants in this country. So that's why we need to start by giving agencies charged with border security new technology, new facilities, and more people to stop, process, and deport illegal immigrants.
That's how Barack used to campaign, and when he was in office, he was deporting millions. He even talked about targeting businesses that gave employment to illegal immigrants. I don't think this kept Michelle up at night either.
We all agree on the need to better secure the border and to punish employers who choose to hire illegal immigrants. We are a generous and welcoming people here in the United States, but those who enter the country illegally
do it legally.
And those who employ them disrespect the rule of law, and they are showing disregard for those who are following the law.
Joining me now is comedian and host of Primetime with Alex Stein on Blaze TV. Alex, Michelle was in the White House during a period where Barack got known as the deporter in chief. Did she ever speak out about that at the time? Because Trump's doing the same thing and it's keeping the poor woman up at night.
Honestly, I don't think Trump is deporting them fast enough. I really do believe that, even though I know he's doing a great job on stopping the illegal border crossers right now. But listen, let's look at Michelle Obama and Rita. I've been trying to kind of pinpoint the similarities to Jada Pinkett Smith and Will Smith. If you look at it now, she's doing a podcast. Jada Pinkett Smith is doing a podcast. It just seems like this couple that, gave us the impression that they were very strong. They're on thin ice. So I just, the hypocrisy of the Obamas, considering they say climate change is one of our biggest threats, that they live in Martha's Vineyard. So this is just another example of probably some of the most hypocritical people on planet Earth.
But also, some of the unhappiest, it seems. Michelle's podcast is just a massive whinge fest. She is just lives a fairly charmed existence, you would think. She's got more money than she could ever need. She's got the 4-car motorcade you mentioned there. But she just whines endlessly on that podcast and all these interviews. She's almost overtaken Meghan Markle and Prince Harry as the most self-delighted, overprivileged, miserable people in the country.
Well, and that's a tough award to win because nobody can beat Meghan Markle really when it comes to that. But I mean, just the sad reality though when it comes to Michelle Obama is like you're right, is that she's unhappy. She's doing whatever she can to stay relevant, but if people want her to run, she's not going to run. So she's kind of stuck in this in-between zone of what does she want to do? What is going to be her identity other than being the former first lady? So she's kind of grasping at straws. She's not as talented as people probably thought. And nobody's listening to her podcast. There's trouble at home. So the future for Michelle Obama, I imagine it is going to be a tough road ahead. And I don't think we're ever going to get actually any transparency. I think that they could totally be divorced, Rita, and they would never publicly state it, at least not for a while. They'll just live. One will be in Hawaii and one will be at Martha's Vineyard because they're such phonies. I don't even think they would admit that they can't even make the relationship work.
I tell you, I reckon this podcast has been an enormous mistake. It's not only...
Let's look at the podcast, see if she's got any more followers. I don't remember when we looked at it last, but it's like, who really wants to listen to her? Let me move this out of my way here. Let's see. Give it a moment. What is it? Oh yeah, the show. Obama podcast. Let's see. So, where does it show? Oh, how long is this video? This is an hour. It only has 4.9 thousand views. News about inauguration, Michelle Obama, Donald Trump. So this had 88,000 views, but she's supposed to be like super popular on X. So let's see here. So she's got, like I said, 21.6 million people on her X page. Let's see how many. Where are you going for the actual podcast thing? I don't want it to start playing. Ugh. Thanks. Let's see, podcasts. I don't even know how you get to the actual. Oh, let's see here. So she's only got 155,000 subscribers, at least on this IMO thing. So it's not like she's that popular with 57 videos. And that's pretty bad. If she doesn't, if she's got that many people looking at her stuff, consider she's supposed to be 21.6 million followers. Anyway, I just don't think she's as popular as people want to think she is. They don't want to hear from
how
her.
Popular she is, because she's always had this image of being enormously popular, and that's been part of her appeal for the Democrats. She's always talked about as a future presidential candidate, but the numbers for this podcast are so woeful. But beyond that is she's become a figure of mockery, because everything that seems to go viral from the podcast is material that sees her as the butt of jokes, because she just whines and whines and whines. She never has anything happy to say, and very little that's interesting. That's the other thing, that she's not a very compelling character. Now, I want to ask you about the tariff war. There were reports that Amazon was going to list the tariff on items on its website.
It was reported this morning that Amazon will soon display a little number next to the price of each product that shows how much the Trump tariffs are adding to the cost of each product. So isn't that a perfect crystal clear demonstration that it's the American consumer and not China is going to have to pay for these policies.
But Alex, Amazon is denying these reports. They're denying that they plan to display prices showing the tariffs' impact on Amazon.com. I don't know if this has anything to do with a 2% drop in Amazon's share price after the White House called the reports of this pricing plan a hostile and political act. What do you make of this? Did they do a U-turn on this policy when they saw the backlash, or was it always fake news?
Well, I hope it was always fake news, because after Jeff Bezos' disaster, sending Lauren Sanchez to space, I mean, he just wasted all of his money basically sending, let's be real, a bunch of untalented, I guess Katy Perry has a little bit of talent, but not astronauts. None of those women were astronauts. He sent them all into space. So I think that was actually not received as well as they expected. And a lot of people thought that was a waste. So I think for their public relations, they cannot add this tariff. MAGA's already upset they sent Katy Perry up there. He needs to try to appease the American people. And these tariffs are unfortunate, but it's just a necessary evil at this point.
Well, he has done a great deal of harm to the credibility and the image of those women. Katy Perry is now being mocked widely. She's having trouble moving tickets for a concert. And I'm seeing clips of her concert tour being mocked mercilessly. Gayle King is also being ridiculed online. It's one of the biggest PR disasters in recent years, that little space expedition.
We looked at this yesterday, but let's go and see what else they're saying about this. The Blue Origin. Let's see. Oh, yeah, still. I'm so emotional and full of tears right now. I just got back from 11-minute space trip with Katy Perry and Gayle King. Thank you, Jeff Bezos, for making me an official Blue Origin astronaut. It feels good to kiss the ground. I feel this trip brought us all together. And then, oh yeah, still the same. It's pretty much the same from yesterday. Okay. AI Katy Perry spilled the beans of failed Blue Origin flight. Let's see.
Hey, I'm Katy Perry. This space trip with a few other women almost exposed the truth. It's all Jeff Bezos' bad acting that raised suspicions. He tripped before opening the hatch, maybe, too excited. When we went to open the door at the scheduled time, he wasn't even at the hatch yet. So we quickly closed it again and let Jeff pretend to open it from the outside. Also, everyone's asking why we didn't wear helmets or traditional spacesuits, but instead wore tight, low-cut outfits and high heels. Come on, we're celebrities. How could we ditch our makeup and high heels on camera? It's part of being a celebrity. We even wore big jewelry into the cabin. Normally, jewelry isn't allowed in space, but we got special permission because Lauren Sanchez needed to show off her 20-carat engagement ring from Jeff to prove how strong their love is. So we all wore jewelry too. And in zero gravity, our hair should have been floating, but it wasn't. The truth is, we were just in a movie studio pretending to be in zero gravity for the camera. Also, did you notice Jeff Bezos touched the capsule with his bare hand, proving it wasn't hot? But when the capsule re-enters the atmosphere, it usually gets super hot and leaves burn marks. And when it landed, the huge impact didn't even affect the nearby bushes. We didn't rehearse beforehand, so there were a lot of slip-ups. Do you think our little show seemed realistic enough?
Wow, that's pretty good. It does say it's AI Katy Perry spills the beans on failed Blue Origin flight. Katy Perry has a message for online haters following Blue Origin. I don't want to click this. I don't know what that is. Yeah, I don't care. Bezos cannot be trusted for a second. He and his buddies are planning another global crisis to hurt President Trump. His staged video opening of the Blue Origin New Shepard NS-31 amusement park ride door. It was already open. No big wrench was ever needed. Was a perfect example. He's an evil globalist oligarch striving for global power. Amazon denies reports that tariff costs will be shown next to product prices. And then Katy Perry roars back at unhinged haters after Blue Origin at backlash, insists she won't be a human pinata. Too late. Let's see here. Am I allowed not to believe in this travesty, this buffoonery, Blue Origin? Let's see. Katy Perry addresses fans after Blue Origin backlash. I'm okay. Okay, cool. Let's see. Alex Stein says the Blue Origin space flight was just a bunch of bimbos in space. Are they sending these bimbos to space to try and test the effects of Ozempic and what it does in zero gravity environment? This is hilarious. Oh, he went to let's watch this.
I'm a little frustrated because if you turn on the TV, all I'm seeing is a bunch of bimbos in space.
The moon! You guys, I have to tell you, look at the moon.
That's right. They're sending Lauren Sanchez and Oprah Winfrey's I don't even know what, Oprah Winfrey's lesbian lover, I guess, to space. And I just think that is absolutely ridiculous. It's a waste of resources. Me flying, I'm in the aerospace industry, and I don't want to try to land my plane and worry about running into some woman with the silicone breasts or something like that. I mean, listen, are they sending them up to space to try to test the effects of Ozempic on what it does to you in a zero gravity environment? I don't know, but I know that it looks fake. And I'm not saying the Earth is flat, but I'll tell you this much, that originally we went to the moon. It was done by a bunch of Nazis, a guy by the name of Werner von Braun, who was brought over during a thing called Operation Paperclip. So I don't want to go to space with a bunch of bimbos and Nazis when we got a bunch of problems here in America, especially in Grapevine, that we need solved.
Oh my goodness. So that was Alex Stein, the guy that's on Lefties Losing It right now. Basically trolling what do you call that? The city council meeting or something. Let's see. Blue Origin returns to Earth with the help of Lauren Sanchez. Blue Origin space PR disaster, scripted joke, or just bad engineering. Full video below. Let's break this down like engineers, not cheerleaders. Sean Spicer called it's worse than the fake moon landing, and to be honest, he may be onto something. The spacesuits were red carpet costumes. Actual space suits are pressurized, fire retardant, and life support integrated. These Oscar de la Renta designer suits stitched for aesthetic impact. No visible pressure seals, no oxygen control systems, no thermal protection, just high fashion for a 10-minute ride, space tourism, the fashion show in a capsule. Zero G, more like zero credibility. Blue Origin's New Shepard is a suborbital rocket, meaning it goes up, flirts with the edge of space, the Kármán line, and falls back down. There was no orbital insertion, no velocity to escape gravity, just a glorified elevator ride to the stratosphere. No training, no G suits, no signs of high acceleration and stress of any of the passengers. It looked more like a ride at Disney than a space launch. And the landing looked dangerous and scripted. Look at the landing footage, sudden deceleration, unclear parachute deployment, and no signs of bracing for impact. And then they all come out crawling like survivors of Apollo 13 after 11 minutes. Or if they were truly weightless, bone and muscle fatigue would not set in that fast. That's pure theater. And why would Bezos need a fashion designer? Because this wasn't about space. It was about optics. A billionaire's vanity project featuring his fiancée, some celebs, and a pop star dressed like Vegas Elvis meets Star Trek. And why? To sell the idea of elite space tourism to the masses. Problem is, it backfired. Who would be able to afford that? Other than the elites. It's not going to be to the masses. Not everybody has that kind of money to pay for that. It says real engineers not invited. The Blue Origin suits previously made by real aerospace engineers were scrapped in favor of creative character engineering. What kind of engineering studios doesn't publish specs, safety ratings, or material tests? A PR gone nuclear. This was choreographed, camera cues, scripted lines, awkward hatch opening, Bezos falling on his face. Even Wendy's fast food chain trolled the stunt. Can we just keep Katy Perry in space? As an engineer and someone who has worked on real environmental and energy systems, I can tell you this was not innovation. It was influencer cosplay with the rocket budget. What happened to bold engineering and what happened to space is a frontier for humanity, not a red carpet for billionaires and their Hollywood friends. And then basically it's like, watch the video and tell me what you think. Was this real space travel or just another reality show? Let's see. Let's look at Wendy's really quick and then we'll be done with this one. Wendy's. Yeah, Wendy's here. Oh, Wendy's is blocked. Or did I block them? Maybe I blocked them because they were doing something stupid. Let's see here. I probably blocked them because they were being annoying. Wendy's. Let's see what it has to say. Okay, can we send her back? That's from Wendy's. Wendy's is awesome. Picture Katy Perry, cosmic cosplayer, astronaut LARPer, live action role player. Okay. It says, I haven't eaten at Wendy's in 10 plus years. The comment about sending Katy Perry back to space lured me in today. Not sorry. Wendy's refused to apologize to Katy Perry. Can we send her back? Yeah. Kesha getting Wendy's only a few hours after publicly shading Katy Perry. I mean, it's just obnoxious, really. The whole thing. Says Wendy's woke up and chose all the violence. PR team won to mother and slay this talentless, terrible, mean girl, Katy Perry, who is a space passenger, rider, tourist. Respect to real lady astronauts. We need to patronize and support Wendy's and Kesha. Go to hell, Katy Perry and Dr. Luke. It says Kesha backs Wendy's after Katy Perry's space flight. This Wendy's marks Katy Perry's Blue Origin trip with Can We Send Her Back? And Kesha co-signed it with the selfie, sipping their drink. The feud still orbiting. Anyway, Wendy's doling down on Katy Perry digs. I love it. It says, I kissed the ground and I liked it. Katy Perry seemingly kisses the ground after returning from space. Anyway, this is this same guy that was at the city council meeting. This is Alex Stein. Let's finish this off.
Well, you know, it's not about the women. I think people want women to go into space, but it was just the women that they chose. I mean, Lauren Sanchez, because she's dating Jeff Bezos, she gets to be one of the women that goes up there. And you know, it's just this is what we get. There's people that are starving out there. The middle class is literally shrinking every single second, and the billionaire elites are more interested in sending their girlfriends up to space than actually helping the American people. So I'm happy that Elon Musk is using his billionaire power to give us some more government transparency. Some of these guys need to use their power for good and not wasting, rocket fuel to send these women into space. That, let's be real, Katy Perry doesn't know what to do in space. What are they testing? Ozempic and zero G, silicone and zero G gravity.
No.
They don't need this. It's a waste, Rita. You know this.
Well, if they actually did those tests, it could have been a worthwhile exercise. Alex Stein, always a pleasure.
Thank you, Rita.
Anyway, I just wanted to watch Lefties Losing It with y'all and just give commentary on it. Anyway, I'll talk to y'all later. Have a great afternoon. I'll see y'all around. Bye.